from moo cows to buzzing bees to swarm theory and the pheromone model for Indian roads. Alright, so for the past 10 years since 1901 in India, we have been undertaking rapid challenges. I mean, we are growing as an economy, a powerhouse to rattle with from the rest of the world. And there we go. I call it the Pamela Anderson model of development, ballooning from 0 to 36. And then we have a blazing entry of Indian cars like the Nano, which is for Indian markets and the world over. And believe me, it was literally a blazing entry for the Indian scene or scenario. And then all these, along with our tricycles, and then our scooters, and auto rickshaws, and our non-human species friends who travel along with us on the Indian roads. This is, oh my God, a madness. If you go to an Indian road, you will see the description of hell, maybe, if you want to call it like that. And you come from the lesser civilizations, then this is something which you can't understand at all. From top, Kalasipalia looks like this in Bangalore. Alright, so then the men who are supposed to be controlling the traffic have absolutely no clue because they are mere bystanders for this. And we are just looking at them trying to get help, but that's not going to come because they cannot involve themselves directly in the system. The system is excluding them because it's top-down approach. And all of us think this, oh my God, if it is just for the bus, I would have reached home. But if every one of us want personalized transport, and at the end of the working day, we get to fury, we want to hit each other up. I see people napping and killing in the roads, and that is too much. And then I was tired of this torture every day coming from the Bhuta Institute, and I want to think about it and bring about a particular change. And I thought, let's take the bull by its horn. And I'm a biologist. Alright, so I think in the biologist way, I thought, oh my God, if you keep adding cars on the roads, even if you have 4 tiers of bridges over, this is not going to end. And Bill Ford said, if you have 800 cars, all 800 cars are green cars, but there's still 800 cars in a traffic signal with a jam. So we're not going to solve it with green technology and all those false promises. Then we have boards on Bangalore roads where the police says go from A to B, avoid C because there's too much traffic there, and we end up with A, clear of traffic, and C, too much of traffic. And then I thought in the biological sense, and I understood, we are all like swarms. Swarms of bees or ants or herring fishes or birds which we see on our skies. We are just following the person who's right in front of us, blindly. Alright? So if he's taking this turn, you might just wish, I think he's going to get out first and I'll follow him. And this is happening on Indian roads every day. And it's too much to follow a sense. Then there comes a pattern out of it. But believe me, ants, when you look at them, you might think they're traveling from point A to B, from their nest to a sugar cube, and they are so straightforward. They know exactly where they're going, and they know exactly how to go there. Are they so intelligent with such tiny brains? The reality is, individual ants are not at all brainy. They cannot even simply give the task which we can catch a butterfly and try and make it do. They cannot perform these tasks. Then how are they managing to reach the particular food source at the shortest time possible, in the shortest distance possible? Now the answer is very simple. They are simply relating and communicating with each other, just the next door neighbor, without even knowing their name. So we as humans have to step out of the swarm and think about the swarm. And then we realize, believe me, we are so much dumber together as humans compared to the other swarms. We are dumber than the ants because we try to make it all top-down, a centralized model where we do not get solutions at all. And believe me, no solutions come out. So we are like this, we're following the wrong person all the time. If we just talk to each other, that person could tell us, I am doing it wrong, buddy, you shouldn't be following me at all. Alright, so then we are dumber than the ants. So what can we learn from them in terms of improving the traffic? How can we get out of this mess? We can't build roads to get out of the mess. Then we can use something which they really use. And they use it daily. It's called as pheromones. So what are pheromones? Pheromones are these chemical message systems which these organisms convey with each other. Simply to tell them, I'm coming from food source, follow me to the food source. And pheromones solve this immense problem we all face every day, and is simply named as the traveling salesman problem. You know what's a traveling salesman problem? The salesman has to know which roads or the houses to hit exactly to get the perfect customers. And how is it solved by the ants? Because they have to know exactly where to go to get their food. Or the bees have to know exactly bees, believe me, they do something like a tail waggle dance. That sounds funny and little to obscene, but the reality is the waggle dance tell you in respect to magnetism and the sun where exactly to pursue to your nest or to your food, or if there is some kind of bad signals or someone to eat you up there. So there is attraction in terms of pheromones. Pheromones attract you, some pheromones repel you. They tell you something wrong there, don't go there. I mean, I'm running from there, I'm fleeing, that's the wrong place to go. So there are attraction, repellent, and then there are some other pheromones. All these pheromones fuse together in a cocktail, and the cocktail is where the information lies for each of these organisms. Alright, very simple. On the Indian road, we have everything possible you can imagine in the world transporting medicine from point A to B. So, how do we use the pheromone model for improving our transport system? I just meant cars, I was being civilized. I mean so many other things too on the roads. So, so we can travel from A to B with the help of pheromone system. We just have to convert the pheromone system into a digital physical plane or a matrix as we can create it. And how do we create that? We can create digital signals just as ants create the pheromone signals. But you tell me, you might be asking me, are you telling me that you have to go and rub your ears or maybe your window screens to each other, or maybe the bumpers? Usually you don't have to touch anyone for this kind of transportation of information. All you have to do is to have a smartphone network, which anyway we have. So how do we do it? In simple equation terms, I've omitted many of the equations. See, the pheromone, when it's released, it gets deposited at that particular location. Its digital signature is related to a cloud. The cloud will tell you, alright, when you are logged on to the cloud to go here or not. And how does that happen? If the pheromones are deposited large amount, the pheromone cloud is more there, you need not go there. We can do that with three systems. By monitoring the speed of the car, then the distance from bumper to bumper. So both of these are negative pheromones. If you have like less speed, more pheromone is accumulated there. That means there's a bigger pheromone cloud and we should avoid that particular location. Then you can have distance. Of course, larger distance, this is a positive pheromone. I'll tell you why. Larger distance you have between bumper to bumper, that means that particular road is free of traffic. And there will be lesser pheromone there because you're moving faster, and at the same time when you have lesser pheromone signal, you're being induced or asked to just move towards that system. So I'm not asking you to have this with every car. I'm just asking you to have it maybe on all the BMTC buses, or maybe on some Nehru cabs, maybe on some of the volunteers in the cars. All these cars do is collate these information, temperature, millimeter radar, which helps in signaling the distance, the speed pulse, and all this is collated together with the GPS, and the GPS will tell you where to go and where not to go, which roads to avoid, which not to avoid, and this will, it helps us a lot. Now what happens is the policeman starts at junction, he calls the control room and says, control room, there is a big traffic junction at Sony World Junction near Koramangala, and the control room will immediately give this information, and they'll display it on those boards. You might have seen these boards in Bangalore roads.
Yeah.
They display it and say avoid A or avoid C. But telling you really that is stale information. That is at least 1 hour old, and the traffic has already moved on. So if you believe them, you are being fooled. So then you can simulate these systems, and simulation happens screenshot simulators like this. This is a Prima system, and then screenshot simulators are really helpful because you can actually access this without any GPS. You just need a smartphone enabled with internet, and it happening in real time. And then at the end of this, I'm trying to prove that this system is much better than the normal prediction systems for traffic. And if you can see, the pink line there is a system which I'm talking about, the pheromone system. And it's so much nearer to the real observed traffic phenomena compared to the last line, orange line, which is nothing but the sequence observation we are trying to do every day on the Indian roads. And everyone has a phone today, and mobile telephone is viral in India, and it can so much help us resolve this transport issue. All we have to do is to have a particular policy driving towards it. And believe me, the world of organisms teaches so much more than anyone else. So that's my talk. I wish I convinced you to go towards this. There's a lot more in depth. Thank you. See you in the